Woo! Now let's talk about it right now. We are at AT&T. I'm Courtney with Cowboys Nation.
What is up? Welcome to another edition of Tag Nation. Your boy Mike Tag with Jimmy D. We're going to get things started, but make sure before we do that, obviously you guys subscribe. If you're missing any part of the show, you got to make sure you get them alerts on. That way you can catch it in the reruns. So I'm going to need my man Jimmy D to pick me up a little bit. I had a long weekend, drove down from North Georgia to Tampa, back home this morning. So left at 5 a.m. just to get here at 2:30. I was actually supposed to do a podcast after this one, 2 hours after, and then I got a flight early in the morning. So thankfully that one we rescheduled. But it's been a long weekend, long day. So Jimmy D, you're gonna have to pick me up a little bit today. You might have to pick up the steam.
Well, let me tell you. First of all, what people got to understand, we are going to be your lead into Monday Night Football. So we're the ones you're going to be tuning into every week. All right. So we'll get that off the table right there. But I got a bone to pick before we go further, okay?
Oh,
it's an elephant in the room. I'm not talking about anybody's mom. I'm not talking about the circus. I'm talking about you about a month ago, guilting me into buying tickets to Jake Paul.
Yeah.
Using Dominic as a crutch, making me feel bad. I get good seats, so what happens? Tommy Fury can't get through customs. Rockman couldn't make weight. Now he's complaining about it, and my body simply wouldn't do it. And now I'm waiting for a refund. So I'm of the opinion, since you really swayed me and you kind of sold me on the deal, if I don't get my refund in the next couple weeks, I think you should kind of kick in a little bit and give me some of that refund money back.
Well, let me tell you about the refund real quick, because it's funny you brought that up. So I had to book a flight for work in September on JetBlue. They canceled my flight. I didn't cancel the flight. They canceled the flight. So the only way I found out was I had to, long story short, I had to go on there because I was going to add someone else to the flight, and then it said canceled. So I had to go while I was driving home today, text message, and I had to wait over an hour to sit on for live chat.
Yeah.
They first gave me a flight credit.
Oh.
I said, I got to book another flight. You guys can't accommodate. I was going back and forth with them to give me a refund on my credit card. So it made me think of that. So I apologize for interrupting, but it made me think of the trouble. Good luck getting your refund. They're probably going to try and give you some credit.
Yeah, you know what? See, that's what I'm saying. So that's why you're in on this with me now. You sold me on it. But I tell you, with the airlines, though, and we're not going to get off track, but about the airlines, man, you know, ever since the COVID started a couple of years ago, they do whatever they want.
Oh, yeah.
Airlines are in full control. They'll cancel. They'll, at the drop of a hat. And like you said, they're not giving money back. Flight credit, you know, I need to get somewhere. I don't need flight credit. So
I don't need no rebate.
Exactly. I don't want Ted Stryker flying my airplane, damn it.
I know. I'm telling you. Yeah, I got to get on a plane early tomorrow morning. So, what you got to do now is you got to take the early flight. So I don't need to be there till late afternoon. But I got an important meeting Wednesday. I cannot miss it. So I have to take the earliest flight to ensure if something screws up, if they bump me, if they cancel it, whatever they do, that I've got enough time to make up. I'm not on like the later flights. So it's just travel is crazy. I don't mean to complain about it, but it concerns me because I'm going to these Cowboy games. I got to go to AT&T, and sometimes I fly in. Hey, if it's a late Sunday game, maybe fly in early Sunday morning, take a chance. You can't do that. And then even leaving, sometimes at the noon games, you're like, shoot, I can take a late flight, get home late Sunday night. That way I don't have to take a day off of work. And you can't, I can't take that chance either.
You see, the problem with me is if I'm going to a football game, I can't take the chance of having a blood alcohol level too high to get on the airplane or get
on the plane.
Right. Hey, well, that's why, when we're going to the Cowboys Bears, you know, I'm flying down Saturday, like you said, first flight out, and same thing coming home Monday. Because I don't want to get screwed. I don't want to get stuck or miss the game or miss the fun and, miss getting home to my family afterwards.
So. No, they're not making life easy. They're not making life easy. But, I wanted to try and do a video Thursday for, Cowboys training camp, all the excitement and this and that going. But I'm still, like I tell people, I'm still working the board. So that's why we're taking calls now. So you guys make sure, hey, you check out, call in, because we'd love to interact with you. We're taking calls now, but I'm trying to figure out how to work all this equipment. And that's been so Thursday I tried to do a show and I kept recording, it wouldn't work. So I ended up having this. I said, screw it. I was getting really pissed. So, but yeah. So anyway, so we're getting the calls in. Make sure if you guys got anything you want to talk about on the subjects that we get on, or we can, hey, we're not afraid to jump off the script a little bit. We sometimes run unscripted. We have about a 2-minute deliberation before the show starts and say, all right, these are some high points we'll talk about, and then whatever else happens, we'll go. So Dominic, keep that number on there for a little bit. That way they can get it. Not all of us have a great memory like Dominic that can remember. We can do that 10 or 15 times.
And you see, now Dominic, well, we'll get to that later. We'll talk about Dominic later. Anyway, so obviously the other big news today, Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Let's review. We've talked about it in the past. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, my initial thoughts are, I just think it's, there's a lot of things I can say that'd be bad language, but this is a family show. But, here's the thing is, if you're innocent, hey, if he went through the court of law, he's innocent and this and that. I personally don't think he should have any suspensions, anything like that. There's allegations that come on people all the time. But the problem with that is the NFL has their own policy. And they're their own judge, jury, and executioner. And the inconsistency that the NFL has pisses me off because there were so many. I had to run down just a quick list. Obviously, Zeke, 6 games for something that happened in college that he was found innocent of, that the NFL investigated, that they found out the girl was upset because he brought another girl to a party or something like that. It hurt her feelings. And she told friends that she was going to get him. And so he got 6 games for that. Calvin Ridley, betting on sports, something that the NFL, jump on 1 year. Ben
Roethlisberger. Let me get to Calvin.
Let me get these, and then we're gonna.
I'm sorry.
Ben Roethlisberger, 6 games. Same, had an incident with a misconduct with a woman, alleged rape, this and that.
Yeah.
Vincent Jackson, 4-game suspension for driving without a license. DeAndre Hopkins, 6 games for PEDs. Ray Rice, before the video came out, for assaulting a woman, 3 games. Josh Gordon has been suspended 78 games for smoking weed. Plexico Burress, 4 games for shooting himself in the leg with a gun. And so on, and not to mention Randy Gregory. So I know that you got some. I know you take a particular to the Ridley one, but you hear that stuff, and then you see Deshaun Watson get 6 games, 28 instances, 66 massages. The common sense has to say something just doesn't seem right. Something's not adding up. But if he's innocent, then no suspension's fine. But NFL set this precedence. So I don't know how he gets 6 except to saying he's a quarterback.
Extremely inconsistent. First of all, my thing with Ridley, all right, and I'm just going to recap this in case people don't know. He bet on a legal app in Florida. He only bet for a 5-day span. They were all parlays, and he bet once on the Falcons to win. Right? Mm-hmm. So you that's a season's worth. It isn't like he bet against us where he was shaving points. Come on. So, again, inconsistency. I think, look, like you said, the math doesn't add up. 26 allegations. And didn't he settle 2 out? Didn't he already settle 2?
No, he settled more than that. He settled more than that in the civil. In the civil side, he settled more than that.
I tell you, and that's the whole point is that, well, first of all, they brought it to an arbitrator. Like, so, the NFL was, I think they were trying to push for more. In fairness, it was NFL.
They still just because this came out doesn't mean the NFL can't, appeal their own and then increase it. But I don't think it's going to happen. Personally.
And they should. The NFLPA was the big, they were the ones who were saying, look, if he gets a full season, we're going to appeal it. But it's hypocrisy. It's inconsistency. This is no joke. It isn't like one person like some of these other guys, which again, I don't condone it. And again, if it was a court of law and he got, vindicated, that's another thing. But 26, that's all you got to say. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I think it's BS.
Is the courts didn't find enough evidence to go after him criminally. That's why you see all these civil, suits. But you just have to kind of use common sense sometimes. 66 massages by more than 30 different women, 40 different women, all set in different locations. The Houston Texans, they ended up being behind some of it because they got fined or they got in some trouble. And they got bad press. I saw some comments that said, well, he didn't play last season. So, that maybe they put that into account. That wasn't his choice. He was available. He got paid. They just decided not to play him for the distraction. He could have tried to play. They just didn't do it. That was a team's choice that he was playing with. It would be like if I'm a bench warmer. Hey, I didn't play a lick, but I was there. And so I don't really buy that. Personally, I don't really care. I don't know what all the hype is with this guy. I saw all these ratings. He's the 6th best quarterback and played in a year and a half. Last time he played, his team was 4-12.
Right.
He doesn't. He doesn't have the players. He didn't have that. Well, look what he had. Look at what he had. He had some talent around him.
Of course,
You're supposed to elevate that talent. Isn't that what they always say about Dak Prescott? Had to elevate that talent.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, Dak Prescott hadn't had a losing season since he's been in the league. So don't give me that crap. And the thing that I also tweeted out was really about the whole Zeke thing. The NFL jacked around for a year and a half. They jacked around and they did all this BS and dragged it out. And then they waited until week 10. And then they said, we're going to, of 2017, we're going to suspend them 6 games. So, Dallas, they lost 3 in a row, if my memory's right, because he was their off. He was their lead dog. He was the second year.
Yeah.
He probably would have won another Russian title, would have had back-to-back there. And it destroyed our season. We missed the playoffs, because of it. And in the NFL, just, again, that was in college. He wasn't even drafted.
Right. And not for nothing, but it's to your point, Calvin Ridley. Now I get it. We don't have a great quarterback situation. If Mariota gets hurt, which could happen, that's his MO, then we got, Ritter in. But the whole point is it's a little different when you got Pitts and Calvin Ridley. It's a little bit different, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, we got Lennon Drake, and he's been doing well in camp, but that's camp. That's not, the regular season.
The important question I have to ask Jimmy, also make sure, guys, you see the number. We definitely want to hear from you. I got to make sure I have the phone around just in case we get a caller.
Yes.
I just want to ask you a question. So Atlanta was in the hunt for him. So this is the old question if you're a fan. If he signed with Atlanta, are you happy? Are you happy he got 6 games? Let's just be honest with you.
No.
You'd still be unhappy.
No, and you're going to say, oh, you're full of shit. No, because I told you off the air when this was going on. I was just pissed because the way they're, screwing around with Matt Ryan, career quarterback, our team's best franchise player ever. I know you say Dion is, and they're pretty damn close. But no, because again, the moral side of me, if you will, 26 women. No, I can't go for that.
I know. I'm just saying. I just know that I hated Deion Sanders when he was with the Falcons, and I really hated him with the 49ers. But damn it, I loved him when he became a Cowboy. And T.O., I hated with the 49ers. I despised him with the Eagles. But man, when he came to Dallas, I was probably the first one in line to get my 81 jersey. So I don't know. I don't know how I would be if I'm a Cleveland fan. I think there's a sense of relief, looking at their schedule. They got some tough games. I don't know how they're gonna, if they can go 2-4 or 3-3, and maybe if Watson is there. So I don't know. I just but I think if Cleveland fans are being honest, they're probably most of them are relieved, and they were all expecting a year. I think everyone expected a year.
If you lived in Cleveland, you'd be relieved too because you got nothing else to do. The city's a dump. Nobody wants to be there. They got nothing better to do, so of course they're happy. All they got is a football team.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You'd be happy too if you lived in Cleveland.
No. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I think the good thing is it's what the NFL probably want. It's gone, right? They can move on, move on to another subject. you know how it is. It is definitely, they want to get it all behind them too. So I don't think they're going to drag it out. I think they'll leave the 6 games. The media, some of the fans, they're going to bitch and moan for about 24 hours, and then it's on to the next subject. So if you got feelings on it, you see the number, give us a holler, let us know definitely let us know what you think, and we'd love to hear your opinion, or just leave a comment and we could talk about it as well. My man, who's that? BWM04. He likes the hype, man. I like that.
I thought it was BMW.
I know that's what I said first, but I'm tired. I can't see anything anymore. It drives me nuts. But
kind of like Saul Rosenberg. I can't see so good.
I can't see so good. A couple things, because we're gone for the week, and things got kind of cut short. We weren't able to do a show in the middle of the week. Receivers. So DK Metcalf, he gets a pretty big extension. Yes. And then you see Debo, and Debo was a hot one because I don't know, how it is. I mean, DK Metcalf was too. Any team, I don't know if they use it for leverage, but any team that's unhappy, or a player that's unhappy and they're in a certain position, Dallas's name always gets tied to them. It's always like, Dallas might be some interest there, and you'll always get some articles. I know people do it to get some run and this and that, and it'll be. I think we got a caller.
Really? Caller.
Let's see. Yeah, we got a caller on here. You there?
Who's there?
Wait a minute. Sorry. You there?
Yeah, this is Rick in Dallas.
What's up? See, it took me a minute. I apologize, Rick. I apologize, but this is all live stuff. I'm still learning the ropes. What's up, man? What's on your mind today?
Well, I'm listening to Jimmy D pop his chop. But I have to say this. He allegedly groped those 26 women. They got paid off. They got the hush money. He was never charged or never convicted.
That's true.
And, I think 6 games is an atrocity. I think he shouldn't have got any game. I think he should be playing the whole season. And, the women took the money, so I guess it wasn't that bad.
Well, and some of them did, and some of them didn't. Hopefully you stayed on. You're not going to drop off.
He didn't hang up, did he?
Or are you there?
Scared?
You there, Rick?
I'm here. I'm here.
I'm here, man. This man ain't going to hide. So listen, so I agree with you. The problem is, I'm going to let Jimmy D jump in, is the precedence that was set. So who are you a fan of? Are you a Cowboys fan being in Dallas, or are you another fan? Who are you a fan of?
No, I'm a Cowboys fan.
So but, you saw what happened to Zeke, right? He gets 6 games for one girl. I mean, a bunch of BS. So when you see Deshaun Watson get 6 games, does that bother you?
Well, let me just say this. I think the NFL is a joke, period, because you got a guy that beats his girlfriend up, knocks her unconscious, drags her into an elevator, and he gets 2 games.
Yeah.
The whole thing's a joke. It's about money, and that's the bottom line. If he was a third-string quarterback or a backup defensive tackle, he wouldn't be in the league right now.
Excellent points. Excellent. Jimmy D, what do you got to say? Excellent points right there.
Now Rick brings up a good point. I agree. If it was some, nobody at the end of the bench and that, but let me ask, Rick, do you have any daughters or, significant other, like wife or a girlfriend?
Yes, I have a girlfriend.
Okay. So let's say that she was working at a massage parlor, like a legitimate massage parlor, and all of a sudden she was coerced into doing certain things that might be questionable morally. What would you do? You'd be okay with hush money?
Well, I would ask how much she was getting.
Oh, God. This is really? I
think Rick has a little bit of Ted DiBiase in him. Everybody's got a price.
I think in general, everybody's got a price.
Well, they didn't turn it down. A lot of them didn't turn it down, right? I mean, to your point is there was in Deshaun Watson's defense a little bit. There was text messages, there was interaction after these massages. Now, some of the women said they did it because they were uncomfortable. They didn't know what would happen, and recourse and retaliation, so they stayed, talking with him. So,
they all pile on. Once there's one woman that comes forward, then there's going to be everybody he talks to is going to come forward, whether he did it or not.
Rick,
and that's the way life is with these celebrities. Look
26.
They even had evidence that he was framed. and they still gave him 6 games.
No,
It's just,
absolutely.
the whole thing's a bunch of BS.
No.
But Rick, 26. I mean, it's not 4, 5, 10. And again, I hope he's innocent. I hope he didn't do all this stuff. But 26, come on, bro.
Well,
you have 26 women that took the money. Now, one person stood up for their belief.
No, there's a couple.
You know what?
There's a couple.
My body is worth more than this money. Well, then where are they at?
No, there's still the one. She was on HBO Real Sports. She's still one of the
So
whole.
one out of 26.
No, she was the first one, and she's been one of the one. I think there was a couple others. I don't know. I haven't really followed it too closely. More importantly, like my man Doug said, I was going to touch on it, but you being in Dallas, you got the pulse of the community. I saw that Washington, our receiver from Pittsburgh, went down. Looks like it possibly could be a broken foot. He was signed to be kind of that 3 or 4 receiver on the depth chart. Do you think that's going to be much of a concern, or are you seeing these young guys? You think these young guys are going to be able to step up and fill that void at the 3 or 4 receiver spot?
I don't really see it as a concern. I think a receiving core is pretty deep. You've got that one receiver. I think you touched on it before. I believe he's out of South Alabama.
Yep.
I like to, once preseason starts, I like to see what they can do. And, you might get that diamond in the rough, a Victor Cruz per se. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I think that brings up what I always say is injury creates opportunity. And there's a young kid, TJ Vasher, who's been making a lot of splash plays, and he in mini camp, and then it carried over into training camp. He had a big one hand, kind of an Odell Beckham kind of catch in the end zone. So I know they're really high on him. He came out of Texas Tech. He was undrafted free agent, but I didn't realize. I had to do a little research on him. I didn't realize how big he was. He was 6'6", 215 pounds. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. But Rick, I do appreciate you jumping on, and he makes valid points on Deshaun Watson. I mean, we can't dismiss some of that. But to your point, Jimmy, the perception of it, the precedence that was set by the NFL, those are things that it just doesn't. It doesn't pass the that smell test. It just doesn't.
I think Rick from Dallas made some valid points, despite the fact that he maybe decided to be an idiot.
Don't talk about our beautiful, contributors like that.
Okay, you know what? But Rick, do me a favor. Call again next week, and thanks for watching. Hey, speaking of the Cowboys, you just see now last week, Jimmy, Garoppolo was going to the Falcons. Now he's going to the Giants. Any thoughts on that?
Is it? I said now you're filling me in. I've been out of touch for 4 days. I did not. I think that would be an interesting pickup for them. I thought Cleveland was going to be a spot. Because the interesting thing with Cleveland is, and it's kind of tricky and it's kind of shady, but it's kind of smart if you're just talking business of what they did with Deshaun Watson. He's only $1 million. His salary was $1 million. That way, when he gets suspended, he doesn't lose any of his big salary. Of course, he has a signing bonus and things like that. So they might be creative in a way to get Garoppolo if he was going to get suspended for the year. Him getting 6 games, maybe that changes it. But Garoppolo to the Giants is going to be interesting. The Giants. I still don't believe in them. I don't believe in Jones. I don't think Daniel Jones is a good quarterback. No. I don't think he's the answer. I think Saquon Barkley's. He's just, a great guy. I mean, incredible athlete. It's just the injury bug has just plagued him his entire career. I don't know what Garoppolo can do. I don't think they're a kind of a team that can, I would say, a win now team. I think Garoppolo is a steady quarterback. If you got him on a team that had some pieces around him that just needed a game manager, reliable quarterback that can make some plays, I think he'd be a better fit there. The amazing thing to me, Jimmy, is that San Francisco just kind of tossed him out like trash, and they're going with Trey Lance, and he's thrown 5 passes in the NFL. It's not like their salary cap, stripped because they're paying 2 huge quarterbacks. The other quarterback's not making a ton. Garoppolo is a bargain at today's prices. So it's interesting to see how that played out. But man, they just side, and they're giving it to Trey Lance, and maybe they see something we don't. Maybe Trey Lance is that Patrick Mahomes. My brother used to say that he was so happy when they got rid of Alex Smith and got Patrick Mahomes, because they said, it was a great job that we'll wreck him, and then Mahomes turned out to be what he is.
Right.
We don't know. Maybe I haven't seen it in Trey Lance yet, but it'll be yet to be determined.
Well, and for what I've read, and I don't, watch much of the 49ers or read much about them, but players like Jimmy G, they like him. So I don't get it. But like you said, they must see something in Trey Lance, and they signed Debo to that big, huge friggin' contract extension. So he's a happy camper. I think he's set for 3 years now. So hey,
and he is. It was funny looking at his numbers. I mean, he ran the ball a lot. I mean, he was their big part of their offense, and make no mistake about it. It just he didn't have those huge. He's had some injuries. He's missed some games the first few years of his career, and I mean, they gave him it was a $75 million in 3 years. I mean, it was a pretty big extension, and I think a large portion of it, if my memory's right, was guaranteed. So. They're expecting big things from him, and I think health is everything. One other signing that's near and dear to your heart, it'll be near and dear to mine come September 11th, is old Julio Jones. Gets signed by Tampa Bay. Maybe this was a big, huge signing 5 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was. Do you think he's got something left in the tank, or do you think he's kind of,
has been messing Makona? I loved Julio, but he changed. Came like ordinary people, right? He's not. It is not 5 years ago. It's not 10 years ago, and I'm sure he'll do okay. He's not gonna elevate the Buccaneers. Brady's not gonna. I mean, look how many offensive linemen they've lost already.
Oh,
right?
I know.
Brady's gonna be running this year. He's gonna be running for his life.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping you guys have him running for his life on day one. But look, in all seriousness, I loved Julio. I mean, he was just a phenomenal receiver for us. A phenomenal player, great in the community, but at this stage of the game, I don't see that making a big difference.
The thing with receivers that just always surprises me, it's almost like with running backs too, to some extent, maybe even a little more with running backs. But when a receiver hits, it's like they hit a wall and just kind of fall off. It's not like a gradual slide. You look at some of these guys. Des Bryant always comes to mind to me because he was just such a physical player. But it was just such a short period of time. And then when it dropped, it gone. It's like, what happened to that? I think some fans, we still clamor. Is Des Bryant coming back? It's been like 3 years. He looks like he can still play, but is he coming back? But there's so many of these receivers. You start thinking about all these names, and they just kind of go, whoops. They just kind of go away. I think we got another caller.
All right.
See, we got to get this situation fixed so we can get take calls. Hey, do we got a call? Let me flip them over real quick, Jimmy. See if I got this. Hey, what's up, man? You on?
Hello.
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm all right.
All right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Craig.
Well, speak up, son.
Craig.
I'm in here.
What have you been drinking, bro?
I don't know. Hey. That last call we had on really pissed me off. You talking about 26 women for 6 games?
Now we got an opposing point of view, Jimmy.
Lack of respect for the law, and I think it's fucking bullshit.
Now
we got. You see,
that's
it.
He's looking language on this show. We dumped him because he's an idiot.
He's
obviously a coward. Obviously a coward. Of course. And I tell you what. If I find out who he is disrespecting the show like that, I'm going to beat his ass. How's that?
Well, you got caller ID, don't you? So
I do. I have caller. Yeah,
that's good.
He got a 30-day ban. No, all right. Hey, people, it's a passionate issue. It's a passionate issue. People get upset about it. And, I can understand both sides of it. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the court of law. If you're found guilty in a court of law, that's it. But if you're not, then, I don't understand how you can face consequential suspensions outside of that, but the NFL is smart. They've got that, player conduct clause in there that kind of gives them free reign of how to do it. Yeah. I just want to just see some consistencies in it. That's all. That's all.
And that's what we are not getting here, and you're not going to get. Because like the last caller, not the idiot who just called, but Rick before, if it's some bench rider, he's gone.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I guess we'll see.
No, we'll see. But hey, just touching on camp a little bit. I know, hey, you don't want to hear it because it's Cowboy stuff, but But we talked about TJ Vasher with one of our callers, talking about with James Washington going down. Looks to be a potentially, a foot injury, maybe a broken foot.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's nothing serious, but I mean, this is the life of training camp, and they just put pads on for the first day today. So it's just, this is just, this is crazy. I remember when we watched, it was 2 days, it was beat downs, it was this and that. So, but Tyler Smith, the offensive lineman, he looks really good. So he looks, they got him at left guard now. They're kind of moving him around in mini camp. So it looks like they're solidifying him at left guard, which we all figured he would. He's going to be the feature guy. He's going to be the one. He's looking tight. Sam Williams is getting a lot of praise, especially from Micah Parsons, likes what he sees. So it's going to be interesting to see, how this progresses with training camp. We did get we got one comment about Kyler Murray and his contract. So let's just jump off subject and we'll jump back to training camp, because this is one, I'm glad he brought it up, because I don't think this happened during our last show. So kudos to you, Danny, keeping us on.
Thanks, Dan.
On task. So you see that contract, you see what he got. What's your thoughts of that? What's your first reaction?
Hey, you know what? I mean, you want to get paid, you got to follow the rule. He signed the contract, so.
The stipulation. I'm talking about him getting that contract, period, that kind of money. Then we'll get on the stipulation. But him being paid that much money for a quarterback that really hasn't produced anything yet. I mean, he's been flashy in some games. He's had some really bad games. But have we gotten to a point where our quarterbacks, if you sign, you just got to pay him because you have no choice? It's next man up. It's that whole thing of, everyone complained about Dak Prescott and the amount of money that he was getting. Now he's a bargain when you compare the next man up of where it goes. I mean, you look at, when Matt Ryan was, with the Falcons, we'll now look at with the Colts. I mean, they got a pretty good bargain.
Yeah, yes, they did.
For, very good quarterback who's still got some tread left on the tires. So when you look at these young guys and they get to that contract year and they get to that right before that 5th-year option, they just gotta, I guess you got to pay them. Or do you think these teams are going to start coming the way of, we're just going to draft another quarterback and we're just going to kind of cycle through, or you're going down with the ship?
It's a roll of the dice, right? What are you going to do? Yeah. I mean, so you're committed for what did he get? How many years did he get?
Oh, I don't remember. I would think you typically they're like 5 or
5
6
years. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's all roll of the dice. I mean, look at the situation we're in right now. It's not ideal, but in
that situation. So as a fan, it's interesting because you're on that other side of it. Do you have any hope for this season, or do you pretty much resign to say we don't have a franchise quarterback unless lightning in the bottle happens and Mariota recovers recaptures what he was in his college days and things like that, because he was a top 5 pick. Wasn't like he was, he's not a scrub,
No.
But do you, as a fan, is that pretty much it? You got no hope because you don't have that quarterback?
I have one name. Chris Chandler. I remember when he came, I think we might have talked about this a few weeks ago. When we signed him, I remember a good friend of ours, Big Lou, called me up laughing. And I'm like, holy shit, Chris Chandler. And look what happened. So you just never know.
No.
This guy stays healthy. You never know.
Yeah. And if you had, you guys had a good memories, right? You had a pretty good defense. You had some, running game, you had things going, because you can point always to the Ravens, and you think of Trent Dilfer, and you even think of Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco got paid off that one season, but they had an amazing defense. You can look at the Buccaneers Super Bowl team with, when they had Brad Johnson, a journeyman quarterback. So I think if you've got the pieces, really around you, you can make it happen. But it's so hard, and it's so limited, and I just look at some of these teams without a franchise quarterback. It's almost like these young guys are held hostage. So Kyler Murray, he's put up decent numbers. He's won some game, but they faded if you look at they faded every year, except of course when he played the Cowboys. For some reason, they can play the Cowboys 16 games a year, he'll be undefeated. But they usually, besides us, they typically fade away, and that's what he's done the last few years. So you're mortgaging all your future into that. And are you satisfied with? The fan just kind of, I guess you just kind of, like you said, roll the dice, and there are no better options. What else are you going to do? And go from there.
And it's amazing. And I'm not kind of parallel. You look at baseball right now, trade deadline. It's so difficult. In football, it's such a narrow. You only got 17 games. You got guys getting hurt already in preseason, and you take baseball. It's so long. The Yankees. I'm not getting off on baseball now, but they have a laundry list of injuries. So we went out and picked up 2 relief pitchers and a starting pitcher today at the deadline because we got guys out for the season and for long tenures. So football is just a different animal, man. You cannot. You're screwed if somebody goes down.
Well, it's the way the salary cap, and the way everything is. You're done. You're done.
Exactly.
So
that's the way I feel. I look at. I'm not writing the season off. And like you said, and we've talked about, anybody goes into the season saying, "Oh, we're going to suck. My team sucks." Then why you bother watching? Turn golf on. Turn on the live tournament or whatever the hell. What are you watching your team for if you already write them off?
Well, that's what that's what, as a Cowboys fan, you can give me some appreciation as, I always, 30 years. Right. Well, every year I'm going to be optimistic that my team's going to win the Super Bowl. I mean, what are you supposed to do as a fan? You're supposed to say, we'll be 5-11, 5-12. I'll watch. No, damn it. I'm here to win. I mean, and football is a beautiful sport because every game matters. And you don't have to be you don't have to be the best of 7. You don't have to be the best of 5. You just got to be the best on that Sunday.
Yes.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I mean, you've seen it time and time again. Our boy Jeff, a big Colts fan. They were dancing. They're going to be going to the playoffs. They go against the Jaguars. Jaguars had nothing to play for. Colts had everything to play for. Winning, you're in, and they got beat down.
They stutter-stepped.
Because it's just that Sunday. You just never know, right?
The Colts stutter-stepped, and they dropped the ball. Better not make that mistake again, especially with my boy Matt Ryan.
You better not make that mistake come December, I think it was the 2nd, because we're going down to AT&T, and we're going to give them a beat, and we're going to finish Matt Ryan off for good, especially after, and we're going to do the same to Tom Brady. So, but no, it's football, right? We got our first game on Thursday.
That's crazy when you think about it, right?
I mean, it's back now. It's over, man. Football all the way till February. Tell the wives. They can tell my wife, you just leave you $20 on the counter. You head to the mall. I'll see. No, I guess $20 will get you nowhere no more. But this is our time. Now we got our Sundays. That's all we ask for our college fans like me. All I ask is for Saturday, Sunday, and then maybe Monday, Thursday if my team's on. Mix it up here and there. So. What games are playing at 10? Jimmy, tell them at least the main game.
Well, the main game is going to be the Cowboys and Bears, October 30th. You better be there, baby, because we're going to be tearing Dallas down. So, Vince, make sure you're at that one.
And October 31st, that's your birthday.
Happy birthday to me.
But we're definitely going to have a good time there. I already know some Cowboys Nation are going to be there, so we're going to be tailgating. One of the hot spots is in Lot 10. So, we'll be over there. We'll be hanging with Cowboys Nation, having a good time. But I'm also obviously be at the opener, against Tampa. And then I'm going to be at Washington, taking the better half to Washington to see that beat down. And then the Colts, and then or the Bears, then the Colts, and then doing a road trip up to Jacksonville to see us take on the Jaguars. So that's a family trip. All the kids, we're gonna go to that one. It'll be a fun time.
Bring the wife and babies.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So what else? The last thing I wanted to get, because you mentioned AJ Terrell, so I want to show you love because I get some comments sometimes that say, Mike, you don't show Jimmy no love with the Falcons. You're always beating on him. You're making fun of him. You got nothing on his wall because his team hadn't won anything, so he can't put anything on his wall. He's got no excitement. So I want to give you opportunity. Now, I don't know nothing about how they come up with this formula, but next gen stats, a bunch of nerds in a laboratory typing in all this stuff, analytical stuff. And I know a lot of people love analytics, so they'll get it going. Oh, the Falcons. Oh, that's uncalled.
I know. Danny's team's going nowhere this year.
Yeah. Got the quarterback and still going to get the same. I still saw them predicted 8 and 9 or something like that. Anyway,
of course.
So they came out with their top 10, and this is their top coverage DBs going into based off 2021 stats. And it was interesting that the most thing that caught a lot of attention, obviously in Cowboys Nation, is two things: is Trayvon Diggs did not make the list in the top 10, and they said the reason he didn't make it was tight window percentage. He was at 16.4, and you need to be at a minimum of 20% to qualify, whatever the hell that means. Have at it. But Anthony Brown, who's been the whipping boy for the Cowboys sometimes, DB, he doesn't get a lot of respect. He was number 6. There we go. We got a man that got a your birthday. Doug's he always comes through.
Doug's a man. I love that guy.
Definitely, we hung out last day. He always comes through. Patrick Surtain, who Dallas, they were hot on. If he would have got it, but Denver snaked him up to rookie last year. Had a good year. He was number 4, but number 1. Now you got all these cornerbacks, all these DBs, all this stuff. Number 1, AJ Terrell. From
last week I brought up AJ Terrell, and you kind of gave me the little get out of here thing. You know what it is. If you look at his stats, passes defended. It's not just interceptions. Passes defended and interceptions and yards given up. He's just a damn good cornerback. He's really good. And we'll see what happens. I'm sure he's going to play as well this year. And we had some injuries last year in the backfield, in our defensive backfield. So we'll see what happens. But he's just good and underrated. And I've been saying that since last year.
Yeah, I've watched him in college. I mean, he's got some skills. He's a good one. The one position I would never want to be in is a cornerback, because that is the worst position to play, because you could shut a guy down all game. They make one catch, and all of a sudden the cornerback is he gets it. He's on the highlight reel. He gets all the heat. He gets all of that stuff. My man Claudio, I just saw that. The Dolphins. Here we go. I tell you, the Dolphins. You got a lot of pressure. I'd love to get your opinion on Tua. Do you think he's going to be your issue or your savior, whatever way you want to look at it? That's going to be the question mark. They got the talent, right? They got the speed. They got the cheetah. They got Waddle. They got the running backs, the fast running back. Their offense, they said, is probably one of the fastest offenses in NFL history. But you got to have a quarterback that can deliver the ball, and you got to have the defense too. So that's going to be, living in Florida. The Dolphins hadn't been to, I wasn't even born yet. And then never do, and then, the Dolphin fans are the one giving me shit, and their team. Oh God! But
since
anyway.
72? No, but that getting back to Terrell, we do have a solid secondary core. So he does have some support, and Oliver's coming back from injury. He had a good rookie season, and he was out last year. So hey, I trust him, and I'm glad. I appreciate you giving props.
Yes,
for once.
Yeah, I'm going to show love.
Thank you.
Love you, and I know Doug. He had a good question. Good question about the Cowboys, about our number 2 receiver until Gallup gets back up. I'm telling you, Jalen Tolbert. I've seen him play a lot in college. I've said the story many times just because a friend's son plays there, so I got to watch him a lot in college. He's going to be the guy to watch, and it's going to be. He's got an opportunity. That's why we talked about earlier. Injuries create opportunity. He's got a really good opportunity to, put his stamp on the team, make an impact early, and if he can, then what you get is when you get Gallup back, now you've got that 3-headed monster, and you can move CD all over the place because you like him in the slot. You keep Tolbert and you keep Gallup on the outside, so you've got a lot of options. But he's young. He's a rookie. But these rookies in college, they've been playing in these types of offenses. It's not like days past. You've seen it. These rookies impact immediately, to teams. So I'm high on him. I got great expectations. I tried to pick up a couple of his rookie cards at the last card show. I couldn't find any that were within my price range, so I had to pass on it for now. So.
Well, we had Claudio again with talking about Tua just healing up.
Yeah.
And Claudio, like I said, and I'm not wishing for it, but I think that, Tua is going to be on the bench by week 5. And I'm not hoping for it, but I just don't see it.
Just don't think
I'm not rooting against him.
He was a guy that beat out Jalen Hurts. So I don't know what that says about Jalen Hurts. These Eagle fans coming talking about all this noise about it. Great Jalen Hurts and Jack, and they got him ranked as one of these quarterbacks, and the Eagles are going to run away with the division or something. But I saw, Tua's got some skills. There's no doubt about it. He had a bad injury, absolutely, in college last year. He's got a lot of pressure on him. So how does he handle that pressure? Because the expectations are really high in Miami. I was down there. I hear it. And, he says he's not agreeing with you. He's not agreeing with you. So,
oh, that's fine. Claudio, call in. We want to talk. We want to make it fun, interactive. Call on in. We'll give you the easy treatment. Don't worry about it.
But it'll be interesting to see because he's got a lot of pressure on him. And, he played at a big school, playing in Alabama. He's battle tested. You got to have some thick skin. You got to have that when you're playing in the SEC, and you got Nick Saban as your coach. So he's got a shot, but he better make it happen this year, or else they're probably going to go in another direction. Maybe get our boy out of the University of Miami next year in the draft to solidify that quarterback position.
Yep, but the one thing he's got in Miami, he doesn't have a media coming down on him in Miami, right? So, and the fans, if they're losing by week 3 or 4, stadiums will be half empty. You know how that works down there. So there isn't a tremendous amount of pressure, which for him is a good thing. If he was in New York or Dallas, then he'd be crucified, right?
No, I think the pressure is higher, but there's going to be pressure. I mean, NFL it's a spotlight. You've seen Sports Center. I mean, it's every week. It's when you win, you're the greatest team. And if you lose the next week, it's like you just what the hell happened? This team stinks. Everything is so hot and cold that if they start out cold, there's going to be a lot of heat on Sports Center because I know a lot of them. They're predicting the Dolphins to be that a dark horse in the AFC to get in the playoffs and to get things going. They've got the weapons. They've got everything that they need. Defense is solid. So it's the only question mark they have. Legitimate question mark they have is a quarterback, and that's join the club. That's a lot of teams in the NFL. That's pretty much the way it works. But it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. So anyway, Jimmy, we've been yapping for a long time. What else? Is there anything else on your mind that maybe I missed out?
Well, 2 things. One is just a real quick one. So they came out with most valuable sports franchises. I don't know if you saw that. So the Cowboys are the most expensive franchise, or the biggest value franchise at like $7.5 billion.
Yeah.
Them and the Yankees are separated by like $100 million in value. It was crazy. I thought we were a little bit higher than you guys. I would,
and Claudio, I appreciate the kind words, my brother. We'll be back. And
Thanks,
I expect
Claudio.
a phone call.
Yeah.
But,
good.
But, for real, I would have thought that too, because of the baseball is more global. Right. So, I mean, you've got a lot more, reach of fans. Great job, Jimmy. You're able to get my.
Yeah. You know what? The question is, we didn't do the DNA test yet.
Yeah. It could be the father.
That's right.
Jimmy might be
but
no, I think the Yankees, I would be a little surprised by that from a global standpoint. But I mean, obviously, NFL's king in the United States and all of that. But the history of the Yankees, I mean, but it doesn't surprise me they're 1 and 2 for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you. But on a footnote, and I think everybody knows we're big wrestling fans. So Ric Flair's last match last night. I'm not going to drag this on, but love him to death. He's 73 years old. I give him a lot of credit for going out there doing that, but that was a mistake.
Now you watched it?
Yeah.
See, I didn't watch. He had he looked like he had the crimson mask.
He had yes, Gordon say Sully. Yeah, he definitely bladed. But it's just there was one point where Jay Lethal suplexed him, and I think Rick really like dinged his head on the mat because after that he was it wasn't part of the storyline. He was crawling across the ring, and something happened. He got his head busted up. Then he
Could
tried to.
Move, though? Could he do moves? I mean, was he? Was
Did
it look like
you-
Scott Hall, like the late Scott Hall on that? You
Oh.
know, when he was in really bad shape and they threw him out there anyway. Was it like that, or was he at least? Was he able to put on a little bit of a show? I mean, 73. I can't believe he's out there anyway. It's amazing.
It was a little bit. It was tough to watch because, especially after after that suplex, his chops to the chest were like weak, right?
Yeah.
I think I can hit Danny's infant and it probably wouldn't even hurt the kid with that chop to the chest. I mean, there was some good like funny moves. He was trying to do the strut and all that. It was just for being my favorite professional wrestler.
Yeah.
It was kind of sad to watch. And he doesn't need the money. He's making enough money off Cameo and his podcast. He didn't need the dough.
No, it was. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I'll watch the replays, I'm sure. When I saw the blood, I was like, "Oh my god, how can he do this to himself?" But then they said he cut a promo at the end, so I don't know if it was a good Ric Flair, classic promo, or was it kind of,
It was. You can tell he was tired, and I don't know if he was emotional or he just couldn't get words out, or a combination of both. But it was the one thing that was cool. He was wrestling tag teaming with his son-in-law, right?
Yeah.
But there was one spot where because he's got a pacemaker, right? He started faking a heart attack right in front of his daughter, and she thought it was for real. Like you seen her get upset for a second. But the one thing that was cool is wrestling royalty was out there. Mick Foley was out there, Undertaker, Bret Hart, DDP, like Lawler. I mean, Double J was wrestling. His old man, and it was pretty cool to see all the legends out there. It's just
now, does that take away from Ric Flair's final match? That was one of the things because he had like 3. This is like his 3rd final match, but his very first final match was when Shawn Michaels, when he said the old "I'm sorry" and then just obliterated him and finished him off. Is that
the best finish ever? No, I think I would regard that. Look, Ric Flair says that last night was his last match. He's the man. I'm going to go with it, but legitimately, where he can actually hold his own.
Yeah,
it was back in 2009.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, it was weird, but I got to definitely check it out. But I appreciate it, Jimmy D. I'm on fumes, so I got a big week ahead. I need Cowboys Nation. I need you guys give me some good vibes. I got an important week coming up, flying out to the planet Houston. So gonna have some fun, but it's work related. So hopefully send some good vibes my way. Hopefully things come back really good and positive. But I didn't say it. Make sure you see the website on the bottom. You guys check that out. We're adding more content. We'll get things going. Also, next week, don't call it now because we're in the show, Dominic.
Come on.
We got to work on this. We got to work on his skills. But anyway, cowboyscave.com. Make sure you guys check out. You get links to all our stuff. We've got some of our old shows on there. But if you need to, you can find links to other things. But Cameo. I'm getting ready to do a cameo right now for a fantasy football league. I got a whole when I do cameos, that, Jimmy. I don't sit there and read off the phone. I got stuff plastered all over the wall, all the things that I need to remember and make sure I don't forget to say. And a lot of it's roasting. Like one guy still lives at home with his mom. The other guy can't handle his drink. Another guy,
Rob,
says he thinks he can beat up Ronda Rousey. I got all this stuff. So anyway, I put it all on there. We're going to have a fun time with a cameo. So you guys, if you need anything, you need shout outs, birthdays, all of that stuff. And if you do it right, if you do it in October, what was that 30th when we're the 29th, 30th when we're down in AT&T that weekend, you might get a joint one. You might get a live one right from the stadium. You might get one from inside the stadium for all I get you right. So anyway, we'll have a good time. Maybe I'll see how it goes. Hopefully, maybe drop a Cowboys show in the middle. And then I'm waiting for Jimmy. The Yankees are getting hot. I'm waiting to pull up on my YouTube and see Jimmy's on some New York Yankee rant because they seem to, they're gonna run away with this thing, or what are they gonna do?
Even with Toronto on a tear right now, we're still 11 and a half games up. We got injuries out the ass right now.
We don't want to see a great collapse, though, do we?
No, there ain't going to be no collapse. I can tell you that. I mean, we got everybody's been hurt. We'll be fine. And I'll be throwing it out there. Don't worry.
Well, good, man. Well, I appreciate it, Jimmy D. Had a great show. Running on fumes, but we were able to get it done, man. We always bring it. So hopefully see you guys next week. Like what Jimmy said is You guys got to put this on your schedule because football season's coming up. Don't waste your time on ESPN and all these other yahoos that don't know nothing. Because when the football starts, we got some special guests that may be making their appearance. If you guys want to make a little money, we got a gambling insider, not Calvin Ridley, but we got a gambling insider that's going to get you some good victories. You got an opportunity. This old school Italian legend is going to be making. They know how to run the numbers. They know how to work.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a good chance for you guys to put some money in your pocket. But we'll have some fun. Jimmy D, we'll sign off. You got anything else?
No. Hey, safe travels. I'll see you, or I'll talk to you later in the week.
All right, Dominic, activate the machine. We're out of here.
And Dak Prescott, being the gentleman that he was, picked him up off that 50-yard line and said, "Why did you